Welcome back to the farm, everyone. It's gonna be a windy one today. The brief but strong storms last night landed us 2/10 of an inch of rain. It's not very much in the grand scheme of things. This will be dried back out by midday with the sun, wind, and heat. I don't know if it was enough to help our soybeans break out of the ground easier. I thought we'd have more out by now. However, they just don't seem to be too spry to lurch out of the soil. They're quite literally right there. A lot of them breaking out, just uneven. I think the heavy rain a couple of weeks ago kind of scattered them a little bit in terms of emergence time. I've been checking these beans daily for the last 5 days. I thought they were going to be up 3 or 4 days ago. Maybe my timeline was off. Soil's not as warm as I think. Who knows? There's that first field of corn, Pioneer 1742 Power Core Enlist. That ought to be up here in 10 days, I'd say. Gonna cool off a little bit, so they may not be too spry either. The rain was fairly sporadic. I heard from a friend west of Windsor, which is like 15 miles west of here, that they're gonna try to plant today. We've got 200 acres of corn stalks over there that are usually pretty wet. I thought it'd be a good idea though to grab Jeff if I can find him, and maybe we just go see if our field will work and plant beans today. If not, you know, no skin off our back. We did our due diligence.
You're gonna get stuck.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna go today.
No.
We have a ton of fields that are just a day to 2 days away. I don't know if we're gonna be able to plant today. We did find something though to keep us busy at least for a few hours. Our dirt work contractor on the waterway northwest of town called us, Overton's, and said that they think the waterway's done. It's got approval from the NRCS. We're gonna go ahead and field cultivate it lightly a couple times, and then either this afternoon or more likely tomorrow try to seed it to get some foliage down to hold everything in place, prevent any further erosion if we can get that established quickly. Just in the few hours since we drove around and checked everything, I mean, this wind is sucking the moisture out of the ground. Who knows, we may end up working more than we anticipated. Wow, this is starting to seem like a good idea. Had no idea Lyle to the north here was working. Come up here and he's working ground. We may end up working this field, although it looks a little wet. Neighbor over here worked this yesterday, and a few spots were a little bit on the heavy side. We'll see what happens when we get out here. They must have started loading up because 2 dozers were here earlier. Probably moving on to the next project. Get lined up on our runway, our nice brand new waterway. We get it seeded and it doesn't get a 5-inch rain before the grass is established, that'll be perfect. We usually don't have that kind of luck. Man, that dozer sure packs this stuff down and makes it rough. My Inspector General just stopped by to give his stamp of approval. He thought it looked okay. We're gonna work it, let it air for 5-10 minutes. I'm gonna go play around in the field, see how it works up, and then once it's dried up a little bit, and it'll dry quickly since it's been worked, then I'll come back and look at it and work it a second time. I'm actually shocked to report that this field is working great. I haven't worked any low spots yet, so that could be a deal breaker. For now though, it's working up fine. Just got off the phone with the boss man. We're gonna green light, trying to get this worked. Got limited options because we got Chris and Jeff and Dad tied up trying to get the waterway seeded. I really don't care about getting the waterway seeded. I know it's important, but at the same time, I also want to get our fields planted because every day of planting we miss is a missed opportunity. I think that's very straightforward. There's some kind of irony in the field cultivator dragging up a field cultivator part. That's in there pretty good. I was wondering why that was dragging up. Never know what you're gonna find. This is an old S-Tine. Oh man, what's in there? Got the gloves on. Doesn't really look like it's on there that much. There you go. We had some new tile lines installed in the terrace bottom. I like to work the worst spots down first, and then when I go back through again,
Working the second time, they powder up pretty nice.
Just working down the waterway for the second time. It looks a little rough, but it is what it is. Katie just showed up. I'm gonna have her run this and just start working. I'm gonna go get the planter switched over corn-wise to get a shorter season hybrid in here. We don't like to plant that 117-day slow to dry down corn up here that's going to commercial storage.
It's amazing how at one point in the morning you can think there's no chance you'll be able to do any field work, and then with the help of a 30 to 40 mile an hour wind, later that afternoon you got a few fields that look close. Dad was complaining about hooking the field cultivators up, even though it's his mentality, and I agree, of unhooking them and getting them in the shed before a storm, which is why they're unhooked. So I've got a few things I want to do. I want to just go ahead and hook that field cultivator up, drag the planter out. I need to dump the extra 117-day corn because we're going 7 days of RM, or relative maturity shorter, up there. So a few things to do, not a lot, but a few. Phil from Alliance Tractor stopped by this morning. He checked out the downforce sensor on row 2, which is on the other side. He said it looked fine. He pulled it out, put it on the ground, it was showing downforce, which you guys saw yesterday. It was not in fact showing downforce, and the unit was plowing through the ground. So we'll see what happens if we get to the field today.
Definitely don't want to get 10 miles away from home and not top the fuel tank off in depth. We'll do that first. Get that down now so we can dump those.
We're a third of the way done. The tractor didn't really need that much fuel, or DEF took like 3 or 4 minutes.
Ooh. Out of principle, I must check. I'm not using any oil. Using plenty of diesel fuel though, I'm sure. This may be the last time we hook and unhook these. They may just stay outside for the rest of the spring. We've already done it a million times. Let's just make it 1,000,001.
2 out of 3 done. There's another 5 minutes gone. No worries. It's fast. Hooking and unhooking isn't really hard, so to speak. I think it bothers Dad. 1, because it's annoying, and 2, because of his repaired rotator cuffs. They're still not fully healed, and I think it's just one of those things where there's a lot of motions in there, lifting with your shoulders and stuff, that put a lot of tension on that for him, so that's why he doesn't like it. I mean, it's not like it's super exciting either.
I'm gonna check a field that'll be going into corn. It's half-mile west of home, and if that looks like it would work, and it might because everything's been deceiving so far today, I'd almost rather get this worked and plant it down here first, because I'm going to plant 116-day corn on it. It's right here. She's acting dry on top. Maybe I'll just bring that field cultivator over here real quick. Never know unless you try it. How's that working up there, Katie?
Pretty good. It's a little heavy in a couple places. The wind will fix it real quick.
Alright, sounds good. You got a third of it done yet?
I'm to the first inlet on the south side. I don't know if I'm quite a third.
Alright, copy that. Did Dad ever show up with that seeder?
He's here. He's not feeding yet.
Every time I look, there's a few more beans poking up out there. That spot doesn't look very bad. It's definitely borderline. Yeah, I'd say that needs another day. It's so close. It might even work tomorrow. Unfortunately, there's rain tomorrow night, so I don't know what good's gonna come out of that. It's just insane, the drying effect of wind like this combined with sunshine, warm temperatures. I just think there's a little too much moisture under the ground. It's hard to visualize it on the camera, but a couple of those passes I made out in the field, you could kind of see where the tires on the tractor ran even after the field cultivator went through it. That's a sign that the ground's too wet. If that wasn't so close to home, I wouldn't even have dared to go check that. A farm 7-8 miles away, you wouldn't gamble on wasting fuel driving down the road. But this is so close, why not? Emptied about 1 full, very full extra bag of the 1742 from each tank. We're going to be dropping from 117 day to probably 110 or 109 day up there, which not a big deal to have extra corn in there. Just don't want to have a ton, because 117 day corn, the end of October, will be probably, and I don't know this, 5 points of moisture wetter than 110 day, if not more. It could be 10 points wetter when we get to it. I'd bring the planter up here, but we've got one field cultivator. She's not even gonna have this done for another hour at the earliest. That looks really good. Looks like there's a few thick spots of henbit that might need hit twice. Otherwise, that's gonna plant tonight, I think, if we get to it. Dad and Jeff are out here seeding the waterway. That may take them until midnight. Oh man. This live will take them forever.
Well, I had to put it in the ground, it's so hard.
The ground's hard over there? I think you're on the wrong way, Dad, other way.
Yeah, we went up.
It's like, it's, oh, there it went. I think you've at least doubled it.
Double nothing.
I'm gonna need this for my yard. That's not our cedar. That belongs to our neighbor, Kevin. I assume we're renting it from him, but that's above my pay grade. Just grabbing the seed tender out of the shed. It's 5 o'clock. They say a late start to the day is better than no start to the day, right? Normally we'd have that backhoe conveyor set up here and we just pull under to load the tenders. We are not ready to go in that regard. Like I said, we didn't even think we were gonna plant today. So I'm gonna just do it the old-fashioned way, which is swinging the tender conveyor around. Not as convenient, but it does work. Hopefully that was a prime example of why it's inconvenient to use the swing out function on the conveyor. It's just not that good. It's honestly a two-man job, and the backhoe we use is more of a one-man job, so it's a lot nicer to use that. I ought to have it set up, but we're just got our priorities mixed up right now, I guess. I don't know what you'd say.
This is Pioneer 0953 109-day corn. It's their standard AM acre max. the older version of what the power core corn is going to be replacing. Short season because it's going to go to commercial storage, and my dad's really big on having corn that's dry to take the elevator earlier in the season so we don't get docked and so the elevator doesn't run out of space.
Loaded up on this beautiful warm evening, headed to go plant 100 acres of corn. Jeff got the north 100 acres finished, and then we've got this south farm with a really heavy end right here. I tried it earlier, thought it was too wet. You can see it kind of pulled some chunks up there. Jeff thinks it ought to just go ahead and work, and like I like to say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, plant it, and just recognize that this end row is a little wet. I told him to make the call on it. If he's gonna work it, I'm gonna plant it. Let's spool the vacuums up. We're in 4-wheel drive, auto diff locks on. Said that there wasn't any issue with that, but I get it to the field and there certainly is an issue, so I don't know what the deal is there.
It's like a hot knife through butter out here. Where are those little seeds at? Hello, anyone home? No? You hiding? Oh. No idea where that one was. Go back there. Also I can't stop digging these things out of the ground. How deep was that? 2 inches? Perfect. Only took me an hour, but I did find one.
Yeah, I just got back in here. What's up?
Easting is a little heavy by this house. The rest of it, where I am right now, is powder. So it's whatever you want me to do.
Well, you think that that hard stuff will need work twice, or what?
No, it won't need, none of them need work twice. It's just a little bit black. Around, around the inlet and stuff, it's going to be a little heavy down here where that, that low spot is.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know. What would you do?
I don't know. It's up to you. It's your farm. I'm not going to mess. I don't want to get in trouble with your boss.
What percentage of the field would you say is perfect?
95. You get over the pickup, just run down here and look. It's right here where I am now. It's going to be heavy.
I really want to plant that, but this field worked up very nice other than this waterway. I told Jeff to maybe work, if there's weedy spots that are dry, work them. Other than that, let's just leave it for now. I don't want to plant in the mud. Oh man, it looks so close though. That's a dust bowl out there. Jeff's folding up. He worked some of the weeds out of that field, and he's gonna go try some corn stalks. A mile and a half to the east of here. Trying to get some stalks worked. Maybe I can plant beans tomorrow ahead of the rain. Dad can run corn if we find some more dry dirt. There's where you need those extra ponies under the hood. I'm maxing out the boost bar right now. Still running 11. It's pretty good. 99% plus singulation, and then again, my downforce sensor's out, so there's nothing I can do about that being red. I checked row number 2. It's getting depth. If anything, it's a shade too deep. I mean, I'm not going to stop the plant. They obviously didn't fix it the first time this morning. How'd those corn stalks over there look, Jeff?
Very wet.
Nah, that's too bad. Copy that. Dad didn't think Chamberlain would work tonight either. Oh, that was rough. We had those new tile lines installed through there. They look smoother than they are, but that trench kind of settles back out, even though it doesn't look settled. Planting corn in a nice, level, big field is just so much fun. Devouring the acres right now, almost 80 acres an hour, straight line at 11 miles an hour. About to run out of seed though. Got 20 acres left to go. Planting right next to the new waterway where the dozer kind of went through on the outskirts, and it'll be a miracle if this comes up and grows 200 bushel corn. It's not exactly a high-yielding environment. The damage has been done for the year. Next year it'll probably recover, but not this year. Last pass of the field, and we're gonna head home. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find any other dry dirt today. I can't sound too surprised because this morning I didn't even think we'd be able to plant anything. I just thought with how this field dried, surely other fields would have dried as well. The field cultivator has found on numerous fields that that is not the case.
It's amazing. You can plant 100 acres without issue, and then on the last like 3 acres, you got all sorts of rows not wanting to plant. Looks like we don't have seed. Let me make sure the blower fan's not on before I pop her open. Oh, we got seed there. Look, you gotta tighten it, guys. Come on. It's your first day on the job. I played around with it. We'll turn the fan on, see if we get anything there. I don't know if the line was blocked a little bit because obviously section control's got this shut off, but those are playing fine now. Last pass of the field, we're folding up, heading home. We're gonna have to figure out something about how we farm direction-wise on this field. This waterway is running with the way we plant. It's got some really aggressive snaking in it to kind of fit the natural topography without having to make a huge cut. I almost think we need to start farming this east and west. We farm it north and south. It's shorter that way. The main issue though is there was so much water coming from both directions, the crop would actually slow it down a little bit, hold the soil in place in the heavier rain seasons while we have a crop growing. Now it may be easier for us to farm it long ways across the waterway because then we could set up a boundary and the planter would just shut off as it went across, and that'd be a perfect little fairy tale, fantasy land, if we can make that work. You really hate to leave a field unplanted next to another field you're planted. I mean, they're literally adjacent, touching each other. But it's one of those things where when you're planting, particularly with corn, you just don't gamble on ground conditions unless it's June. It's middle of April right now. It's not that far up the road, like 7, 8 miles, maybe 10 miles, if that. And we're seeking perfection, we're seeking high yields. Sometimes, even though 90%, 95%, according to Jeff, the field's perfect. I'll be completely blunt with you all though. If we were 30, 40 miles away from home and in a little more of a logistical bind, we'd probably be more likely to consider planting a borderline field. Would it be guaranteed that we do it? I don't know. It depends on the year, the crop, the circumstance, and the forecast. This year, we're looking for high yields out there. We're not going to plant it if it's too wet. Not the most productive day compared to what is possible, but when you didn't think you were going to get any planted, getting 110 acres of corn in the ground's better than nothing. Just helped me get the planter tucked away in the shed. It's been a slow start to planting season. Some years it's like day one, everything's drying out because you got a good forecast, not too much rain. Other years like this year, you just kind of hurry up and wait. You find a field that'll go, and then it goes, and then everything else is a day away from ready, and then it rains again, and then you just repeat that cycle until you get everything in. I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering why I'm running the corn planter, because Dad traditionally is the corn planter operator. Although some of you may disagree, I am actually an experienced planter operator, and a corn and a soybean planter are relatively close to the same. So if you can do one, you can do the other. The one thing you have to remember is that corn is picked in rows, so you have to be a little cognizant of that as you're deciding where you're going to go. Soybeans, you've got a draper that's omnidirectional. When it cuts, you can literally do whatever you want. You could do zigzags in the field, and I mean, the draper may not like it, but it can cut right through it without issue. That's actually all completely irrelevant information. The reason that I'm not planting beans is, one, like earlier, our corn stalk ground going into beans is not dry enough. It doesn't dry as quickly as soybean stubble. And two, all of our quicker drying ground going into soybeans, we already planted. That 300 acres we planted at the end of March, that was fields that right now, if we'd not planted them in March, I'd be out planting them. But we planted them, so hopefully I don't have to plant them again. I guess we'll find out here in another week or two if we get a good stand or not. The other factor is that since we're not running both planters, and I'm a qualified planter operator, I think deep down my dad's favorite job is to roam around and do whatever he wants and kind of be the boss. Put me in the planter, he can go do what he wants to do, take a nap, watch TV, work on small projects, do other important stuff. I'm not saying he just messes around all the time. It's actually the opposite. And I can babysit the planter, and it works out well. And when we both have fields that'll plant, we'll both plant. That's just kind of the way it's working out. Anyways, I'm gonna take off. We got some rain moving in tomorrow night. I don't know if we'll be able to plant tomorrow. I guess you have to check in to find out. As always, everyone, I greatly appreciate every single one of you continuing to tune in and support the channel. Your viewership means the world to me. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Until then, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great day, everyone. Peace!